So say it with me. We love America. We love America. We love Chicago. We love America. And Donald Trump, stay the hell out of our city. Thank you very much.
Governor J.B. Pritzker in Chicago at the No Kings rally. Then they all opened fire on one another. It was really quite tragic. It was like a scene from Pol Pot's Cambodia. Sad. A very happy Monday to you, and welcome back once again. We remain at 888-630-9625. We had the government shutdown. I think we're in day 20. It's the third longest lasting government shutdown in recorded human history. Of course, not all history as human history has been recorded. You know, like all of the Native Americans, no recorded history at all. Good thing Christopher Columbus got here, started writing stuff down. Everything from that day forward, we have a record of what happened then. Isn't it amazing? We've got a lot of crazy for you because the Democrats had a weekend to be crazy, and they all dressed up and went out, sometimes in the rain, sometimes in the sunshine, and no kings, and so I think they all joined Tea Party groups. Is that what happened? They're forming Tea Party groups now because the Tea Party groups, they're the No Kings people, and we had Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. She was out there in public, and she's talking about how, she's from Boston. I think I'll have me a beer. And she said, in Boston, we know a thing or two about kings because, and then she mentioned the Tea Party, and really Boston Tea Party, because a bunch of people dressed as Indians, kind of like, Elizabeth Warren throughout her entire adult lifetime. Her time at Harvard, faking being a Native American, being an Indian.
My papa had high cheekbones, like all of the Indians do.
Not to stereotype with the high cheekbones thing or anything like that, but does Ebone over there, does she have high cheekbones? I haven't actually looked at her cheekbones. Does she have? But her papa did. Her papa, just like all the Native American people. Yeah, and she put out a tweet about, how we in Boston, we know about a thing or two about kings because we had the Tea Party. And then she dressed up like an Indian and, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? Because she's Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren.
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
For the first time in her entire life. Isn't she amazing? So we've got that going. And we just talked about the peanut allergy stories because those are quite remarkable stories. Remarkable stories indeed. New study shows 60,000 kids have been spared peanut allergies by feeding them peanuts as babies. Sure, problem solved. And I can't wait to get to this story because it's one of my favorite stories of the day. That the number of transgender so-called people, Democrats with mental illness having to do with their genitalia, plummeting in the United States because Democrats are just failing everywhere you look. They can't win for losing. I never quite understood what that phrase meant, but I know what it's supposed to mean, but grammatically it doesn't make sense to me. But we've got that. Also, Amazon shut down the entire internet today or something like that because Amazon Web Services outage. And they can't say whether it was a hack or just organic or maybe solar flare activity or something like that going on. But it turns out Amazon is trying to fix this huge internet blackout that struck them primarily. But Reddit is now down. So many things are now down that if you're trying to use your internet today and it's not working, it's probably because of Amazon. I blame Jeff Bezos. But what's Venmo is down and Chat GPT is down. Amazon, if you want to buy things on Amazon, that's down. If you want to watch a video streaming on Amazon, whatever that's called. What's that called? Yeah, Amazon Prime, if you want to watch that, you can't watch that. If you have a Ring doorbell camera, with the video and the little box in it, that's not working because it all depends on Jeff Bezos. Everything you think is normal in life has been taken, and then they condemn billionaires, and they can't wait to spend time with Jeff Bezos and polish his head or something like that, bounce laser beams off his head from a space platform because they got that. Banking apps are down today. What's that called? Roblox or Roblox and Snapchat. Everything is down. All these things are down because of this outage at Amazon that they're trying to fix. Sure. Isn't that great? Ring, Venmo, all kinds of crazy stuff down. Isn't that amazing? One of the core infrastructures powering millions of websites and corporate platforms, AWS downtime has impacted apps like Zoom, Signal, Slack, Canva, Roblox. Is it Roblox or Roblox? Roblox, like a roadblock like Democrats laying down in traffic, naked, which they often do. The outage has also affected financial institutions, major U.S. banks like Barclays, Lloyds, Bank of Scotland, UK banks. I'm like, hey, those sound like UK banks. So half the internet is down, which I think might be good for everyone. So if you're sitting somewhere and you can't do what you would normally be doing because the internet is down, just turn to the person next to you and talk to them. What? Like normal people. I think that would be good. That'd be a good thing. But let's get to, because we've got the crazy people on the loose all weekend long. Where's my, here it is. My that's a lot of pages today for my things. They had, my best girl and I, we, Saturday morning, we talked about Friday night too. Let's go down to the No Kings thing on the mall and laugh at all the funny people. And I got to say, we stayed in and we had breakfast and we hung out. And then we hung out with friends. And we never got there. Which is fine. We kind of wanted to go. But the loony people, they were there. There are a lot of them. They're old white liberals with gray hair, overwhelmingly old and white, and they self-describe as liberal, but really they're like fascists. They harvest the organs of millions of children. Let's just start with that. But we're watching at home and hanging out. And being nice and looking at the view. It was wonderful. We can see down to the mall, and if anything exploded, we would have seen it from sitting in bed, which is where we spend a lot of the money. But that's okay. Let's go because then I turned on the C-SPAN. Have you heard about this? C-SPAN. It's a television channel. There are like 3 or 4 of them, actually. And they had, and I started watching Bill Nye in Washington, D.C. They had a bunch of idiots like Bernie Sanders and they had Bill Nye, the engineering guy. Bill Nye, he has, he's a guy who's had a TV show, a kids show, where they show how magnets work or something like that. And Bill Nye is not a science guy. He got a bachelor's degree as a college student in engineering, and then he did a children's television show. And then he became, in the fake media universe, Bill Nye the Science Guy, because he did little magic tricks for children on the Panhandler Broadcasting System at taxpayer expense. But Bill Nye was down on the mall in Washington, D.C. at the so-called No Kings rally, and I was shaking my head, and I started texting Michael Piercy immediately.
Their king had refused to honor the law. Their king had refused to let lawmakers be elected. The king had made court judges dependent on his will. They cited the king sending, quote, swarms of officers to harass our people. Their language referred to, quote, cruelty and faithlessness scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous of ages. Their king was trying to, quote, render the military independent and superior to civil power. Our founders even censured King George for cutting off trade with all parts of the world. Did these actions sound familiar? 249 years later, no crowns, no thrones, no king.
Glassy-eyed, retired people with white hair, confused, probably stoned. it's legal to smoke pot in Washington, D.C., but technically not on the mall because that's federal property. But so what is it now? I mean, I think it was Barack Obama that used the IRS against his political enemies, and that was, what the Tea Party was about. And it was in Boston when the ships and the tea and the taxes, and then Barack Obama, the king, he's not really so much a king as, what is he, Michael? He's a queen. He's going, I'm still doing the monarch thing, but he's, just ask, what's his name? His boyfriend. But never mind that. So we got that. And, refuse to honor the law. I'm sorry, you guys use the FBI, the Justice Department, the IRS, the intelligence community against your political enemies. You guys, I've got a list here that's several pages long, targeted by the Biden administration. They're all President Trump allies. And you fascists, you queens, they can't be kings, though. They've just got to be queens, because even their men, well, they don't want to be called men. So they got that. Yeah, no crowns, no throne, no, you got a BA in engineering. Go over there and play with the erector set. Do whatever it is you're supposed to do. Bill Nye, the engineering guy, just amazing stuff. And these are the people that tell you there are 140 different genders, right? And that if a boy says he's a girl, then he's a girl, because it's science now. He's the science guy. If a boy says he's a girl, then he's a girl. If a girl says she's a boy, then she's a boy. And she goes and shoots up Christian schools, then you don't talk about it. They say, don't let your kids eat peanuts until they're 3 years old. Otherwise, they might get peanut allergies. And then you find out the best thing for them is to let them start eating peanuts as infants because, you're the science people. And what else? They've got all kinds of science. They're not exactly. Bill Nye, the engineering guy.
Although the United Nations has been the world's leader, and although the United States has been the world's leader of science for decades,
he slipped.
This president and the members of his cabinet even failed to accept scientific facts.
Oh, yeah.
Contrary to Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution,
Article 1
they
accept
do not
scientific
promote the
facts.
progress of science.
Article
they
1,
suppress
Section 8.
it to the detriment of our health, well-being, and international competitiveness.
Yeah, because Article 1, Section 8 says that you have to pay attention to science. I'm sorry. How many genders are there? And do those surgical masks work to stop the spread of COVID-19, which came from the Wuhan Institute of Virology when you're denying science? And that 6-foot social distancing, is that the science? And now let's go to audio of Joe Biden saying, of Joe Biden saying, Michael Piercy started to jump the gun here. He's like, hey, I got it. Of Joe Biden saying that if you get vaccinated, then you'll never get COVID. And if you get vaccinated, then you'll never spread COVID. And if you get vaccinated, then you'll get into Harvard and yada, yada, yada. And so that's science. These are the science people. They don't know how many genders. They don't know what a woman is. We've got a Supreme Court justice that doesn't know what a woman is, can't say. She's a woman. I can say what a woman is, but she can't. Isn't that amazing? And so this is the kind of, droning brainwashing you're getting at the No Kings rally. Bill Nye, the engineering guy.
No thrones, no crowns, no kings. Let us now raise our voices.
Let us know.
We are here demanding a return to the rule of law.
They're demanding a return to the rule of law.
Together, no thrones, no crowns, no kings. Thank you all. Let's change the world.
And then they burned the Capitol to the ground and killed everybody in it. Because science, they're the people of science. Depending on what the word means, and again, they use the words, but they don't know what they mean. We've got more. Where do you hear these people who attended? I've got some great ones for you. You gotta tell the grandkids about them years from now. The big wireless companies have been pulling one over on all of us for a long, long time. It's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I did, and I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage, same towers, same transmitters, same networks, without the big wireless cost on my bill at the end of every month. It's not just about saving money on my bill every month, although that's real good. It's also about not being used and abused by the big cell phone companies that I pay every month to abuse me. Do you have any idea how much data you use every month? I certainly do not have any idea how much I use. Most people 50 years old and older use fewer than 8 gigs, less than 8 gigs of data a month. But big wireless companies, they shove us all into unlimited plans because they redistribute our payments to pay for the cost of 19-year-olds that use 10 times as much data as you use every month. And if you're not using all that data, you are the one being used and abused. When you've had enough of that, go with Consumer Cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone, and it's really easy to make the switch. You call, you talk to an actual human being, not a touchpad or a robot. That person that you talk to is based right here in the United States, not on a space platform over Ulaanbaatar. Real human beings that are actually helpful. And it only takes about 20 minutes to make the switch. So give them a call today and make that switch at 800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Yeah, wait till you hear the geniuses that the Democrats have. They say 7 million morons gathered in stupid places over the weekend. They're lying, of course, but wait till you hear what some of these dimwits had to say.
Who are you who are so wise in the ways of science?
All right, I'm having fun today. I haven't even gotten to the fun stuff yet, the audio to play. These tardos, the Democrats out there gathering like maroons. I'm looking at the clock, and I don't know if we've got a lot of time. I don't want to go. I've only got 40 seconds for a caller to go to, so I'm gonna hit pause there for a second and come to your calls when we have more time, because I don't want to squeeze you at it, But where do you hear these people? The D.C. No Kings rally, and I'm sorry, and the Democrats that use the intelligence agencies against their political enemies, the FBI and the Department of Justice against their political enemies, the IRS against their political enemies. No Kings. The Boston Tea Party was about taxation, and the Democrats, they just don't get any of this. But they brainwash very well. And all the Q-tips, the retirement age, baby boomers and beyond, liberals with white hair protesting on the mall. And they got one young guy in Denver. I want to share him with you because he is, what they call him, a humdinger. He's a humdinger. I'm not sure if there's a double entendre there or not, but he's coming up. All right, let's go to the telephones. And then I want to start getting to audio from the Idiot Fest on Saturday across the United States. There were 70 or 80 people participated. They say they had 7 million people. They lie all the time about everything. That might have been the size of the Confederate Army, 7 million. What do you think? It was probably not that big. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to let's see. Let's go to Dave calling from Silver Spring, Maryland. David, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dave.
You remember about 30 years ago, I think it was on eBay, where someone sold an air guitar and someone bought it? And, of course, it doesn't exist, right?
Right, yeah.
So the guy who bought it must have been a Democrat, because only a Democrat would get together with 7 million of his buddies to protest the existence of something that doesn't exist.
That is very clearly stated, Dave. I've got to say, you summed it up very well. And it's typical of the Democrats. You know, I've been talking about this since Occupy Wall Street, when they had these radical leftists like Frances Fox Piven, extremist, communist college professor who wants to destroy, and she's out of the closet, capitalism and America, the Cloward and Piven strategy to collapse capitalism worldwide. And naturally, she becomes a revered and esteemed college professor and all that. And they They brought the little zombies out into the streets to sleep in their own human waste and to learn how to chant.
You are amazing.
You are amazing.
A lot of you are young.
A lot of you are young.
You say a lot of us are young.
You have energy.
Imagination.
You have energy. Now, you're supposed to say we have energy. A lot of us are young. You're not supposed to. You're just supposed to repeat it back. I mean, it's like a bad Bill Murray skit or something. Honestly, amazing stuff. But Dave, this is what the Democrat Party has created on college campuses and beyond. This is what the Democrat Party has done. They got a lot of you are amazing, and they say a lot of you are amazing. Repeat after me. Repeat after me. I. That's they're not the brightest bunch in the world, but they've organized the stupid, and they put them out in the streets where they hope someday to be run over by tanks. Like Tiananmen Square. That was the glories of socialism and communism there. All right, Dave, good call, well said, the air guitar. And it's true, of course, it doesn't exist. And now they're out there protesting no kings, which doesn't exist in this country. Where's that? I've got to pull that since, Dave, since you brought it up. There was this amazing moment, I don't think it's in our story sheet today, where the Democrats over the weekend, they had to change their language, what they were protesting in England and what they were protesting in Sweden, where they have kings, and the Democrats had started a no kings movement, right? In England, where they have King Charles, who used to be Prince Charles, and now he's King Charles. And in Sweden, where they have, I was talking about this on Friday, King, what is it, Gustav the 16th, right? XVI. The Democrats call him King Gustav XVI because they don't know their Roman numerals. But the idiots, they had to, can you narrow it down a little bit more? They had to change their No Kings rallies. They had to change the name because they realized, hey, wait, there are countries here that have kings and they like their kings, like in Sweden and in England, they kind of like them. And they liked Princess Diana better, but never mind that. But they had to change the language to the No Tyrants March, right? Because they're mentally limited. And the left-wing radical group called Democrats Abroad, they had to post on Saturday a few notes, : boy, do they love their colons. We've changed the No Kings theme of other events around the world to No Tyrants, so as to not mix messages in a country with a monarchy. So wait a minute. You're actually okay with kings then. And now you're bowing to the kings that are actually kings in countries in Europe where they have kings, where they have monarchs. And you're bowing to them while you're protesting here saying no kings. You're bowing and scraping, kneeling before Zod, because now you're afraid of the king. So we've changed the No Kings theme of other events around the world to No Tyrants, so as to not mix messages in a country with a monarchy. We're also swapping out no crowns, because the kings wear crowns in the countries that have kings, right? Some of them were just stolen from the Louvre yesterday in a fun Hollywood-style heist, I guess. But now there's a movie going on with cops chasing them all over Europe, no doubt. Bridges, European cars, things like that. But we're also swapping out no crowns in favor of no clowns. Sure. And then they showed up dressed like clowns because they're really dumb people. Come dressed as a Trump clown, DT himself, or one of his cronies. It's a dress-up. Now they're playing dress-up and make-believe. This is the Democrat Party. Is just membership is a mental illness. Think bad blonde wig, orange face, long red tie, or whatever gets your creative juices flowing. And I texted when we were trading this over the weekend, day before yesterday. I said, well, usually when Democrats get their creative juices flowing, there's an outbreak of monkeypox, wherever that is, because their creative juices are usually, thick with venereal diseases. What are they called? STIs. STIs, that's sexually transmitted infection, not to be confused with an STD, sexually transmitted disease, which I think the D is actually for Democrats, sexually transmitted Democrat. And they, honestly, their creative juices have been known to cause all kinds of venereal problems. I don't think we should be looking at that. No U.S. kings. Then somebody put a sign in a window in Europe saying no U.S. kings, because they're fine with their kings. Did you see this? These people, can I just say, these people, they are something. All right, now let's get back to the idiots, because there are many of them. And we played Bill Nye, the mechanical engineering guy. He got a bachelor's degree in 1950-something in mechanical engineering, and then he did a children's show, and Democrats think that he's a scientific wizard of some kind. And they go around pounding the table yelling, "We're for science." Yeah, Ketanji Brown Jackson is on the Supreme Court, and she doesn't know what a woman is. In San Francisco, you can sign up for $1,000 a month in subsidies if you're one of 135 genders. Was that the number? 135 genders. Right? You guys are the ones that told us if you get a vaccine for COVID that you'll never get COVID. That was bad science. That if you get a vaccine for COVID, you can never get COVID and give it to anybody else. That was bad science. They told us social distancing of 6 feet works. That was bad science. They told us wearing a surgical mask that a nurse might wear in an emergency, that'll keep you from getting COVID. That was not true. That was bad science. They're the bad science people, and Bill Nye, the bad science guy, he's no good. I was, again, watching, and I felt a little bad for a minute that we didn't go down there, but I got over it pretty quick. Then my best girl and I, we went out, and it was a beautiful day, and we went hiking around. We went places and sat down and did nice things. It was great. But they had a guy, he's a Black Lives Matter guy, Washington, D.C., No Kings rally on the Mall. Somebody named Zion Stewart. Zion. He's a Zionist. They must hate him. He's like a Jew. He's got some kind of a Jewish name, and they're going to have to burn his house if they ever find where he lives. So No Kings got a Black Lives Matter youth poobah named Zion, like Israel, Stewart. He's going to have to change his name now because the Democrats want to kill him because of his name. And he came up because they're keeping it classy on the Mall with the Capitol behind him.
Saying Trump.
He's a teenager.
Saying Trump or ICE would be what he expects from me, but that's not what we need. What we need is prevention, support, and spaces where black youth can thrive.
Prevention. We need prevention where black youth can thrive. Maybe we should start with command of the English language. Let's begin with that, why don't we? And then let's all agree to not shoot anybody. How about that? That would make everything a lot better. He was there, and he had a nice smile. He spoke kind of comfortably, but he learned everything at D.C. public schools, and Democrats have left him ill-prepared for the world.
Youth are the solution, not the problem. We deserve to be understood, not blamed or preyed upon.
Yeah, stop shooting everybody. How about that? Let's come to an agreement. All right? D.C., No Kings, Black Lives Matter guy. This was the adult in the equation, Cliff Albright, who brought Zion along with him.
We organized for those voting rights because we knew that we'd be in a moment like this.
We did?
A moment where we have a wannabe dictator and a do-nothing Congress trying to take away our voting rights, trying to cancel elections and purge voters from the rolls. We knew it was coming.
You knew it was good. He's like a psychic. He's like Gene Dixon. We knew it was coming. A wannabe dictator wants to take away our voting rights. This is the takeaway of voting rights. This is about gerrymandering. Did you know what this take away our voting rights? This is about gerrymandering. These people they're really not up to the task. They have no idea, but they organized because they knew this day was coming. A wannabe dictator. I'm sorry again. Barack Obama and Joe Biden used the CIA, the FBI, the Justice Department, the IRS, and They used Twitter and Facebook and threatened the owners of Twitter and Facebook to propagandize, to deny information to the public, that is, to suppress a free press and the free flow of information. They did it all for political power, for greedy, selfish political reasons. And Donald Trump has done none of that. You guys targeted the king, you know, and we'll get to President Trump because he commented on this too. At the No Kings rally. Oh, then they invited the jihadi, speaking of genocidal Jew haters, Mehdi Hassan, who was fired even by MS-13 DNC, which is apparently going away now. And Mehdi Hassan, who's a communist and a jihadi and would kill every Jew on the face of the earth before lunch today if he could, and he'd feel good about it. Anti-Israel up the yin-yang. Mehdi Hassan at the No Kings rally in D.C.
Donald Trump, the man who uses Palestinian as a pejorative, as a slur, has no plan.
Everyone does.
For Palestinian freedom. No plan for Palestinian statehood.
What?
No plan for justice for the Palestinians who have been massacred and starved and genocided and ethnically cleansed for the past 2 years, including the past 9 months of his presidency. Meanwhile,
really?
Israel for the past week has violated the ceasefire again and again, killing Palestinians with impunity. Yesterday they killed 7 Palestinian children during the ceasefire.
Only children.
There is no peace in the Middle East because, as Dr. King said, peace is not just the absence of violence, it is the presence of justice.
Hey, Mehdi Hassan. By the way, genocided is not a word, you illiterate jihadi bastard. Wherever he should be deported to, he should be deported there. I think he was probably born here, but he should be deported to some beep hole anyway. Isn't he amazing? So, wait, he has no plan for justice. I think he'd be deported to England. Put him there. It's a Muslim country now, officially anywhere. I was talking to my friend Matthew Foldy about this over the weekend. You know, the Islamic bomb has been a discussion for some time. President Trump recently used B-2 bombers, the B-2 Spirit bombers, to drop penetrator bombs on Iran's nuclear program to keep them from getting a nuclear weapon. But and you've probably been seeing it too, a lot of videos on Al Gore's amazing internet lately of Muslim leaders in Canada and England talking about how, hey, listen, we're taking over Canada, we're taking over England, we're taking over France. There are no-go zones where only Muslims can go, where we have implemented Sharia law. We're electing leaders that are hostile to the culture in which they live in England and in London in particular, in Paris in France, in Minnesota in the United States. And I said to Matthew Foldy over there, and I said, listen, the Islamic bomb is going to be Islam taking over England, and then they've got the English nuclear arsenal. They take over France, and they've got the French nuclear arsenal, nuclear submarines with nuclear ballistic missiles from Britain, France. So the Islamic bomb is already there. Right now, it's the French bomb or the British bomb. Isn't that amazing? Yes, it is. All right, I've got a lot more coming to you. I got Bernie Sanders and, well, Cory Booker is so irrelevant, Nancy Pelosi, but we've got, and wait till you hear these everyday Democrats who showed up for the zombie apocalypse on Saturday, and wait till you hear how bright they are, how knowledgeable they are. You trip them up by asking questions like, why are you here? Completely stump them. We are at 888-630-9625.
Hey, look, the king! Oh, mighty king!
Well, apparently at the Smithsonian Institution, you know, they have run a lot of museums on the Mall in Washington and all that good stuff. They also run the National Zoo. And the last time around, when, who was that? Barack Obama's big government shutdown? They shut down the Panda Cam at the National Zoo, the Smithsonian National Zoo. And it was very tragic because, you know, the pandas living in there, they had Bao Li and King Bao, that's Qing, King, no king bow day. And they shut down the Panda Cam. And honestly, it was like Jeffrey Epstein, because came back and the pandas had hanged themselves. It was terrible. The pandas were dead. No more pandas. And the cameras were off because of the thing. All right, I made that up. They didn't really hang themselves. They're just fine. Those stupid Chinese pandas. The red pandas are much more fun at the National Zoo. They actually move and do things and interact with people. These Chinese commie cams. So have they shut down the Panda Cam this time? NBC, they've shut down the Panda Cam this time because the government shutdown?
It's not just federal workers feeling the pinch of a government shutdown. Pandas are also being impacted by the funding crisis, and anyone who wants to come here to see them. The Smithsonian Zoo, museums, and research centers, which attract millions of visitors every year, have closed thanks to the government shutdown. The good news is the animals will still be cared for during a shutdown, according to a zoo spokesperson.
Sure.
But the bad news is those animal cams, which allow the public to keep tabs on all the animals, including the famous pandas, will be dark as long as the government remains closed.
As long as the government remains closed, the panda cams will be dark, and then the pandas are going to hang themselves like Jeffrey Epstein, and then the Democrats are going to say, release the panda files. Release the panda files, because there are no panda cams. And now, does it actually cost money to leave the camera on when you go home? I think that when the Smithsonian is open, there aren't people there in the panda facility 24 hours a day, yet the cameras are still on. Now, out of bitterness, and to show that they have some kind of power, a last gasp of power, the people at the Smithsonian at the panda place are like, well, that's it. We're going to shut down the Panda Cam. And then we're going to rename this panda Jeffrey Epstein, and we're going to rename this panda, and we're going to leave him bed sheets. You know, you're not supposed to leave bed sheets because your panda can hang himself with bed sheets. You don't want that. Yeah, the Panda Cams are turned off as though it cost money to leave the Panda Cam on. It's like an LED light. It costs nothing to leave the Panda Cam on, but they shut it down because a lot of them think as communists think.